Hello, my friends, and welcome to News of the Week. Alan Brazil is in big trouble. They're on a show called TalkSport, and they're talking about Mission 21. It's Man United's plan to win the Premier League. Now, when I say Man United's plan to win the Premier League, who do you immediately think of? I hope it's not the men's team, because if it is, you might be sexist.
Plan to get the women to the first title of the WSL, and then both missions come under this broader Project 150, which aims to get the club back to the win in the Premier League for its 150th anniversary by 2028.
Greatest respect. When you talk about Manchester United, look, the women's football now is getting more important, but when you talk about Man United, it's only the men's, the Premier League.
Gabby already doesn't like where this is going. Holy Jesus, look at this still. You've got Alan Brazil on the left and Shabhan aHearne on the right. You've got a man who looks like he was born in the 1950s and a woman who was born probably in the 1990s. I mean, these two demographics are just arch nemesis when it comes to social views. This is a recipe for disaster, even having them in the same studio.
The Premier League that we're talking about here with Mission Impossible, it's not the women's.
Well, actually, it is part of the plan. Well, it's called Project 150.
Well, I'm sorry, people around the world are not bothered.
That's not true.
It is true.
Well, I'm bothered, and I'm sitting here and telling you that I'm bothered. So don't say people around the world aren't bothered.
Yeah, they're not. They're not.
They are.
Oh, this is so awkward.
Not, okay, they're not.
The bigger picture, what, the men who only care about football being the men's game?
No, the bigger picture is...
There's a kind of a hint here in the tone of that men are somehow wrong if they only care about the men's game. And I would ask why. Why, as a consumer who pays for Sky Sports, I am obliged to be a social activist? The beautiful thing about sports, about products, about services is that it's about quality. And consumers are selfish. And they like quality. And the women's game is at a low quality. And there's probably other reasons too. But it's like, nobody cared when Ronda Rousey was the highest paid UFC athlete on the planet. Because everybody knew it wasn't a DEI hire. She had the X Factor. And it's hard to define what the X Factor is, but she had it. We know it when we see it. You know, and actually, the women's game is funded by the men's game. Men's football subsidises women's football. Men's basketball subsidises women's basketball. This year, for example, women's basketball has exploded in popularity. The reason why is because something happened. A star came along called Caitlin Clark. She had a rivalry with Angel Reese. And women's basketball is good to watch now. But you're just not going to get there through guilt tripping. Like, who wants to be guilt tripped?
No, the bigger picture is Man United fans want to see Manchester United in the Premier League challenging.
Right, so I want to see
the bigger picture.
I want to see that too, but I would also quite like to see the women be supported.
Good,
to get the chance.
But it's not.
You've just said that people don't care. People do care.
It's not that important compared to the bigger picture.
No, the bigger picture is having a future and them being valued.
It's not. I'm not going to sit here and lie. It's not. Right?
Well,
it's not.
It is if they've clearly got. Ow, stop being like that.
I'm
honestly,
I'm telling you the truth, it's not.
You sound like a proper dinosaur. That is obviously your spirit animal, the way you sound on this morning.
Yeah, well, Shabhan.
I don't know why you're speaking like that.
You're kidding yourself on.
I'm not kidding myself on. Alan, stop. Like, listen to yourself. There is a project.
I don't have to listen to myself. You're kidding yourself on.
Well, I would say...
That's unbelievable from you.
It's not.
You're the one with a granddaughter playing football.
Yes.
Listen to your language right now. That's important.
I watch it as well, okay?
Oh, but it's not important in the long term?
Not what we're talking about here, Mission Impossible, 21 years.
Unbelievable.
It's about Manchester United getting back, taking on Liverpool, City, etc.
And I've said that, but then don't disregard the wider picture of involving the women.
Shabhan, you're getting carried away again.
You kind of go like, why did Alan Brazil choose to die on this hill? Why didn't he just let the comments slide? And the answer is because he knows that actually the punishment for speaking your mind is no longer the death penalty. Society's changing. Trump has been elected. You know, Google are dropping their DEI quotas. So are Amazon. So are Microsoft. You can't take a shit whenever you want in Starbucks anymore. You know, for the last 3 years, you've been able to shit in Starbucks whenever you wanted. Didn't even have to buy a coffee. And the reason why is because 3 years ago, they rudely spoke to a couple of black guys on the suspicion of them using the toilets without buying anything or something like that. And it's like the whole world changes because of one rude interaction. It's just crazy. And I think it's like he's letting out frustration. There's been a lot of football pundits employed, not because they were very good, but because of their skin colour or their genitalia. And it's like, why do we have to suffer this shit? Like, why do we always have to watch shit just to feel like good people and to make shit people feel better about where they're at? It reminds me of when Joseph Stalin robbed all the land off the good farmers in Soviet Russia. And then he gave it to the proles because he wanted the proles to feel better because he was a communist. But the proles didn't know how to grow food. Turned out growing food is a skill. Yeah, it's a skill. So guess what? Millions of Ukrainians died. And so in this particular situation, Shabhan's going, oh, look at these wonderful potatoes. They taste like pesticides and they're soggy. And then Alan Brazil's like, these potatoes are shit. And Shabhan's going like, why would you say that? Eat these potatoes for the sake of the regime, for the greater good, for Mother Russia. He goes, but they're shit. Let's just get the good farmers back and the good potatoes back. And she's going, communism's about equality. If you don't eat these shitty potatoes, you don't like equality. And he's just like, what? And then she's like, your granddaughter makes shit potatoes too. Emotional manipulation, by the way. And he's like, what does that have to do with it? I want her to continue to grow potatoes and try her best, and hopefully she'll learn, and hopefully she'll reach the level of the good farmers one day. But like, you can't affirmative action your way to competence. That's just not the way the world works. We're not God. We don't decide these rules. We don't make the rules. And so it's just really weird. And by the way, if you're in an argument with a 50-year-old man and he's doing this move, you can't win. That's like the block. That's like an immovable object combined with an irresistible force. Reality is becoming fashionable again. People are looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion in a different way. And it's about time. Like, these are the last cries. Like Shabhan is like Hitler in the bunker. Like, it's over. And thank God, by the way, if it hadn't ended now, we would have had to suffer Joey Barton as like this generation's Nelson Mandela. He would have been put in prison for a Facebook post and then become a cult hero. And by the way, if you don't want these guys to add their personal opinion, why don't you just replace them with AI already? Let's just read shit off a script. In fact, let's just put in what we want to hear into some AI engine, and we all get our personal radio stations back to us of like what exactly we want to hear to reinforce our stereotypes and beliefs and presumptions. And so none of us feel uncomfortable ever. That's a great idea. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching News of the Week. I'll see you soon.